welcome back to Home Grown Less. I don't know about you, how you're doing this spring, but I was starting to feel really discouraged by just the lack of gardening that I had been doing. I suddenly realized it's almost time to plant my garden, and I haven't started enough. I haven't started really anything. I did start peppers and tomatoes, and they came up, but they weren't thriving because, number one, I put them under the lights that I don't like to use because I hate them instead of the good lights that I bought because, I don't know, poor decision making. And number two, I think a mouse came through and got into my propagator and snipped off all of the pepper plants. Not the tomato plants, just the pepper plants. So we've got a spicy mouse. So today, off camera, because it's really hard to get things done when I'm thinking about making a video, and also because my basement garden is way too small. I reorganized so that I could get a little more space to start things and get my tomato plants closer to the good light. And I resowed pepper plants, and I sowed some cabbage, and I resowed some kale, and then I also directly sowed some beets and some radishes and some lettuce and some carrots, and I started some flowers and some melons, and so I am mostly cut up. But then the thing that I brought you along for is I am so sick of growing potatoes because they never do well and they're a pain to dig up. Some of the potatoes that I grew last year that I set aside because they were too small to deal with had started to sprout, and some of the potatoes that we bought to eat and then never got around to had really sprouted. So we had some potatoes that were begging to go in the ground. So it's not like I have to buy anything for it. I might as well try one last time. Try a way to grow potatoes. I've seen people grow potatoes using the Ruth Stout method, where they put the potatoes on the ground and then they cover them up with mulch. And that's it. Maybe add more mulch. And they grow potatoes. And their potatoes are easier to wash, and they're easier to harvest, easier to clean, and it just seemed like a good way to grow potatoes. One problem I have is I never really have enough mulch, but last year I got a little mulcher that basically mulchers twigs and sticks because I can't do gas. Gas would make me sick, so I've got an electric chipper. And we have a big ash tree that drops branches from time to time, and I saved them up, and last year I used all that mulch to start a mushroom bed. This year I'm using the mulch, excuse me, this year I'm using the mulch to grow potatoes using the Ruth Stout method, and if this doesn't work, I'm done growing potatoes. It's not worth it for me. I don't have enough space to grow enough potatoes, so we have to buy potatoes anyway. One last try. One last try. One last try. So, the chipper that I have is a Sunjo, and it's not super high powered. It doesn't do really big branches. I think they say like 1.75 inches diameter is their largest branch, and to not push it, and don't push it because you will get something stuck and it will be a pain. Plug it in and you put the branch in the hole and it chops it up. It doesn't make like the thin wood chips that you would get if you bought a bag of mulch at the store. It's more like chunks. It's a wood chunker. So it chunks up the wood. So we'll see if this is good for growing potatoes, because it's like not even really wood chips, it's wood chunks. But this is our last hurrah, so it is what it is. Once the weather warms up a little bit more, I will go through and we will suck and mulch. We've got one of those things that sucks and mulches leaves. So we'll suck and mulch all the leaves, and then we might add another layer of 2 of leaf mulch on top of our wood mulch. But right now it's too cold and we might be sucking up and mulching valuable pollinators. So that will wait. My garden right now is covered in leaves because we leave them there for the winter for critters and pollinators and just to protect the garden. But we have some signs of spring popping up. I think I took this footage a week or so ago and didn't do anything with it. I've got crocuses. Not very many crocuses. I have a really hard time growing them because the squirrels think that they're delicious. But I have 2 tiny patches that have survived. And so far they're the only flowers that have popped up for me. And our rhubarb is starting to pop up, which is exciting. You can see I've got rhubarb all along the path along the sidewalk. So it'll be like a fence of rhubarb. And sometimes people come and they knock on our door and they ask if they can have some rhubarb. So the more we have, the more we can say yes. We have strawberries that have overwintered. They always come back to life looking strong and ready, so much sooner than I'd expect them to. I would think that strawberries would be really wimpy little plants. They are strong. They are strong. What was that? I don't know. And we have walking onions. We've got one bed. I think I got some bulbs off Etsy years ago, and I'm trying to every year use them a little bit but then save the bulbs and plant the bulbs. And then this year I think I have enough in my main bed that I can do the method that they talked about on You Can't Eat the Grass, where they have a mother patch and then they harvest those bulbs and they plant those bulbs in the eating patch, and then they harvest and eat those when they come up, and then just keep taking the bulbs off of the mother plants to plant them in their eating patch. And that way they always have walking onions that are growing and creating food for next year, and then they have the ones that they're eating. So I think we're gonna try that, which is pretty exciting because I have a hard time growing regular onions, but walking onions just want to grow. That's all they want to do. They just want to grow. We're getting to that busy time where everything needs to happen all at once, and it's a little bit overwhelming. And it's also a little defeating because everything needs to happen at once, but also nothing's really happening now. We have lilies popping up, we've got rhubarb popping up, we have strawberries that are coming along, we've got walking onions. But as far as food goes, we could eat the walking onions, or we have ramps. Last year I planted ramps. I also got these from Etsy, and they came and they were so slimy that I was worried that they would be goners. I didn't think that they were going to come to anything. I was worried that the leaves were so slimy and the bulbs still needed them to get more nutrients, but I think they had enough in their bulb that they came back. I'm going to leave them this year, although I did take a little piece and eat it just to make sure that they were ramps, and it was delicious. Ramps are so good. I think they're also called wild garlic. They taste like garlicky but a little buttery, and a little almost oniony. It's a very delicious flavor. Many years ago we had joined a CSA, and their first CSA box was ramps and nettles and sorrel. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do with these. So I found a recipe for nettle soup with ramps and sorrel and some coconut milk, like coconut cream, and it was the best soup I've ever had. And ever since then, like, I need to be able to recreate this. I need sorrel in my life, I need ramps in my life. I will find people who have nettles. When you feel overwhelmed in the spring, just remember that there's always time for something. If it's too late to start your tomatoes from seed, maybe you buy seedlings. Usually or at least where I live, around time to plant tomatoes and stuff, someone's always saying, oh, I have too many, and they're giving them away. So just because you have not started the things you need to start does not mean you will not be able to plant the things you need to plant. But put something in dirt today. It feels good. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye!